Hello, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1301. Happy Monday. Not going to play Monday morning quarterback, though I do want to address the Chicago Bears. How about that? I haven't watched the game. I was at the Janesville Card Show yesterday. We're going to talk all about card shows today. I'll tell you my thoughts on yesterday's show, what I bought, what I sold, and just the overall general feeling at the show. We're also going to do a little Q&A. So if you have any questions about card shows, whether it being as a promoter, as a dealer, as a customer, you can ask them here. I'll answer and give you my opinion, and others in the chat can offer up their opinions as well. So we'll do a little card show Q&A this morning on Hobby Evolution. Chicago Bears, big win. Another, this is a game that, well, the Bears should win this game, playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a tough game when you play overseas in Europe. It was a London game. It was an early game here. But the Bears handled, it was 35-16, I think, and they pretty much cruised from start to finish in yesterday's win. Caleb Williams looked great, 4 touchdowns. I haven't watched the game, but apparently looked great. Allegedly looked great. 4 touchdown passes. The stats looked great. So I'm looking forward. I recorded it so I can take my note down. I said, record Bears on NFL Network. So I've got that recorded. I'll have that going on in the background at some point, either today or tomorrow. Go Bears. Bear down. 4-2, right? 4-2 Chicago Bears. My prediction at the beginning of the season, before the season started, I said the Bears will go 10-7 and win a playoff game. That was my prediction. Maybe they win more than 10. Can they win more than 10 games? They could. They're looking good. So a lot to be excited about for Bears fans. And how about, I saw a stat, I think Adam Schefter tweeted this out. The NFC Central, for the first time, a football division has, I think, all teams or 4 teams with 4 wins through the first 6 games. And it's the first time since realignment in 2002. How about that? NFC North, Bears, Packers, Lions, Vikings. Oh my. NFC North looking good. Let's talk eBay store. Visit my store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more at regular price in the buy it nows. You'll save 25% off at checkout. I did list some new buy it nows this morning that went unsold in last night's eBay auctions. So I've got auctions running almost every night. I did not get a new batch started last night. It was just a busy weekend. Yesterday was also my wife's birthday, which I spent most of the day at the Janesville Card Show. So I did not come down to the basement and do any shipping, listing, or anything like that. So no auctions started last night, but I'll try to get a batch going started tonight. And of course, we'll have new auctions starting tomorrow night. And I will stream live right here on YouTube, or if you're watching on Twitter as well. Tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. Central, we'll do Tuesday night eBay Live with our auctions. We've got some fun stuff going at auction tomorrow night, and I'm going to be listing some cool stuff as well. So check that out, 99centcards.com. I'm also on the Collects platform. I've got over 3,000 cards already listed within the first 3 weeks selling on Collects. I've sold over 300 cards. It has been kind of slow here the last couple days, but I haven't really been listing anything new. So check out my Collect store, COLLX. If you're a Cubs collector, I've got a lot of Cubs singles at cheap prices. So check that out over on the Collects app. Busy weekend. And I'm exhausted, and I know exactly why. We had dinner at my mother-in-law, the notorious MIL, dinner last night for my wife's birthday. It was also my wife's grandma's 98th birthday on Friday. So we went out to dinner Saturday for Chinese, but Graham was not feeling well, so she did come last night. And I'm just like, we're getting ready to leave, and I'm like tired. I took a nap after the show, which I don't even take a nap after the Madison Card Show, and I'm exhausted. So it's like, why am I so exhausted? I know why. It's because my diet sucks right now. And we pulled in last night after dinner, and I'm like, I'm just so exhausted. I'm so tired. My wife's like, you know, why are you tired? And I'm like, I haven't been sleeping. I think she's like, have you been sleeping? I'm like, I haven't been sleeping well the last couple nights. And she's like, are you anxious? And I said, no, I have been eating terrible. And I'm like, Thursday night, drunk on the bar crawl. Friday night, we had pizza. Saturday night, we had Chinese. And then we came home and I had like a cupcake. Sunday, I have like a protein bar, and that's about it. And then, I also had a big Gatorade that's loaded with sugar. It was not a sugar-free Gatorade at the show. And then the notorious MIL got my wife a big box of crumble cookies, which are like the greatest cookies known to man because they're loaded with sugar. And I ate a whole cookie. I don't know how many grams of sugar is in that cookie, but I'm guessing close to 100 grams of sugar in one of those big cookies. So I think that's why I feel like shit. So today, in classic Jewish mother fashion, my mother-in-law is trying to force leftovers on me. And I'm like, I need to eat like a rabbit tomorrow and Tuesday. Like I need to detox, drink a lot of water, and eat some lettuce, and just stay away from sugar and processed foods and garbage because I'm on a string of 3 straight days of just junk. Needs to stop because I feel like crap and I've got a lot of work to do. So that was Saturday and Sunday. I went live on Saturday morning. So that was my weekend. Saturday, watched some college football. Had Chinese on Saturday night. Sunday was the Janesville Card Show yesterday, so we'll talk about that. And we'll do some Card Show Q&A. So if you have any questions, put those in the chat. I can offer my opinions. Other chatters can offer their opinions. And I want to dive in. There's a new on the Blowout forums. There's a new thread in the what I call the mature section. No. Get your mind out of the gutter. In the mature section of the Blowout forums. I call it mature because it's not a bunch of like kids that are dicks online. You know, I was a dick online back when I was a kid. So it's more of the professionals. There's some egos in there. There's egos everywhere. But I think this one's going to be a little more professional. There's going to be better information in this. And it's in the and when I talk about the mature section, it's called the eBay ComC Online Selling Shows PayPal Shipping Forum. That's where you go to shill your card shows. There's some great eBay threads in that forum as well. And card shows, there's a new card show thread that there's some good stuff there that we can talk about today. So card show Q&A today. And we'll talk about yesterday's card show. I'll show off what I bought. I'll tell you what I sold and just general feelings. I actually did write some notes. I do have my phone here. I did write some notes. Let's get those up here about yesterday's card show. Boom. Open my phone. There it is. Okay, so let's go to the chat. We've got George in the house. What's going on, George? Steel Cards is here. Good morning. Boston Smokes in the house. What's going on? Todd Richardson, good morning. Yesterday's show was a success. It was not as successful as recent shows, but I would say it was an average show for me. And I'll tell you about I filled basically just a little over one row of a 2-row shoebox of stuff that I bought, a few cards for my PC and mostly inventory to either flip as a buy it now in my eBay store or run at auction. Victor, good morning. Great game. The Bears. Go Bears. Big win. Kevin, good morning. You are welcome. Thank you for the purchase. I listed some ticket stubs over the weekend in my eBay store as well. So the ticket stub he bought was Tom Brady played in the game. I think it was his senior year against the Wisconsin Badgers. Lewis, good morning. What's going on? Todd says, big win for the Lions, but losing Aiden Hutchinson could be devastating. Yes, I hate to see that because I like the Lions. Even though they're in my division, I like the Lions. And always root for the Lions when they're playing the Packers or Vikings. Always root for the Vikings when they're playing the Packers, of course. Kyle, good morning. Billy Joe's in the house. Good morning. Peter is here. What's happening? Lewis says it's the change in the weather causing you to be tired. That also does have that's part to do with it. Mainly it's my diet over the last 3 days. But yes, the days are getting shorter. Of course, they've been getting shorter since June 22nd, but now you could really tell. It's dark in the morning when I drove to Janesville yesterday. It's getting darker earlier. So it's cold, man. It's cold this morning. I thought we were going to have frost. No frost, but I think tomorrow we might get frost tomorrow morning. So yeah, it's colder. That plays a part into it as well. Terry's here. Good morning. The Card Hunter, what's going on? Says the Bears haven't played their division yet. While true, they're still going to win 10 games this year. Bears will still go 10-7 with a playoff win. Red Light 34, good morning. Dan says, I think the Bears will hold their own in their division 2-4 at worst. I agree. The Bears won't win the NFC North, but they will, like Dan says, hold their own. Card Hunter says they ain't winning the division. I agree with that. The Bears will not win the NFC North, but they will win 10 games this year. They've already won 4 of 6. And like Dan says, yeah, I think the Bears go 3-3 in the division. I think the Bears go 3-3 in the division. And I think honestly they can split with each of the teams. I think they can split with all the teams. Let's see, go 3-3. Tracy, good morning. Red Light says, how was the card show? It was good. It was good. It was not great, but it was not bad. It was good. John Myers in the house. Good morning. What players were you noticing move the most? That's always a tough question for me. And I'd like to hear from the chat. If anybody was at a card show this weekend, did you notice any players that were moving? Because as a dealer, I sell bargain box cards. And so what's funny was I took a lot of the same inventory that I took 2 months ago to the same location, Janesville. And I probably made about the same. Now, I had 2 prearranged deals 2 months ago, so I made significantly more money 2 months ago, but 2 of the deals were prearranged. And one of those deals was with my buddy Shane, who actually drove to Madison on Wednesday this past week, and we did a deal. If he would have came to Janesville, I would have had my best show ever if he would have bought the same stuff. So I think overall, excluding my prearranged deals with those 2 customers 2 months ago, I probably made the same or maybe even a little more this month than what I did in August. The funny thing, I brought a bunch of 70s cards from the estate sale. You know, I'm still going through those. I mean, I've gone through them all, but I'm still, moving through them in terms of inventory, both on eBay and at card shows. But 2 months ago, I put together, the leftovers is like, I've got plenty of these already listed on eBay. Now I'm going to move these $1 each. I had a whole stack of like 71, 72 in the dollar box. Nobody bought them 2 months ago. But I had a guy buy like 54. He had 54 and he's like, what, can you give me a deal on this? And I'm like, 54, I'd do $40. He's like, cool, I'll do it. So I sold 54 70s basketball cards to that one buyer. I don't even know, like in most of the time, like I'm not, and I did dime boxes. So usually people are buying bunches of cards and I make them count Actually, I don't make them, but how many do you have? And they count. So that's kind of the thing. So I don't know. This is a tough question for me because I'm not selling singles. I'm selling bulk. So I don't know. Sometimes I can get a feel on what I put into the boxes, if everybody's gravitating toward football, but it was really a mix. And lately I've had more and more people gravitate to baseball than other sports. Sometimes football obviously is the second. I'll get maybe one person that looks at hockey and soccer. And maybe, depending on the crowd, maybe a couple. So that's the general gauge I get. So I'd be curious, anybody else in the chat that was at a card show this weekend or last weekend, and you noticed what was moving. I'd be curious. Sometimes when I'm shopping around, I'll try to listen in on what people are talking about, but I didn't really notice yesterday. Dan says, what show did you go to yesterday? Janesville, Wisconsin. John says, I think Vic was at the game in Tottenham. Very cool. Very cool. Merle, good morning. What's going on? Happy Monday. Mikey's in the house. Good morning. John says you're lacking humidity in your diet due to the harvest. That's true. Harvesting all that corn, there's no humidity in the air. John says Ziggy needs to come the F down. Redskins fans, suddenly no football. Go Birds. Merle says, don't count on the Bears beating the Vikings. Skull. The Bears will win a game against the Vikings. They'll split. Vikings will also win. Gundy 98, good morning. Michael Renicky, I saw Michael yesterday at the Janesville Card Show. I'd be curious what was moving for Michael yesterday. John says Mickey Mantle cards are moving. Willie Mays cards are moving. Sandy Koufax cards are moving. Always. There you go. Victor says, yes, tons of fun. Still here, flying out tomorrow. Nice. Have a safe trip back. So, general consensus yesterday was it was kind of a down show. And this was in Janesville. And I didn't which is surprising because I brought the same stuff that I brought 2 months ago. And I think I made more money, excluding my prearranged deals in August. I think I made more in sales. I feel like I do better with dime boxes. I think I make more money when I drop the price down to a dime. I move a lot of inventory that way. I did have one of my regulars bought 2 full boxes. I just had, 10 cents a piece, or hey, buy the whole 4-row for $50. And he bought 2 of them. So, that's a nice $100 transaction right there. What I did notice, there was less traffic at the show yesterday. But that doesn't have anything to do with the actual show, the promotion of the show, the weather, all that stuff. But what it does, usually when you notice big differences, because there are, legit reasons why traffic is down, there's other shows. And that's the biggest reason why show traffic can be down. There was the 2 main drivers of this in Janesville yesterday was Collecticon was going on in Rosemont. So that took a big bunch of Pokemon dealers, which I was very happy with because there was a lot more sports dealers at Janesville yesterday. There's a lot less Pokemon. There were still some Pokemon dealers, but a lot of the Pokemon dealers were at Collecticon. So it was nice for sports card buyers. We had more stuff to choose from. There was also the big 3-day show in Schaumburg that was going on this weekend, and I know that took some people away also. So traffic was down. The strange thing was most of what I bought yesterday was from my buddy Steve, and I'll always mention when I buy from Steve. Steve is the dealer that I got the Acuna Super Short Print for 25 cents. And I think I sold it for what I sell it for, $250. So Steve always gives me good deals. And he's like, I asked him how he was going because I'm looking through his boxes and he's still got, end of the day, like there's some good stuff in these dollar boxes. And I'm like, how'd you do today? And he's like, terrible. And I'm like, really? He goes, terrible. He goes, not even making my table feedback terrible. I'm like, holy shit, that is terrible. He said, it's one of my worst shows ever. I'm like, that's crazy. And it wasn't for, now there were people buying, and there were people buying bargain box cards because I did very well. I did average. I did okay to good, probably slightly above average at yesterday's show. So I was surprised, and I'm looking through and I'm like, okay. And he's got bulk deals. And what I love about bulk dealers, and I don't do a good enough job of advertising bulk deals because it just kind of depends, which I hate as a buyer. So I need to go with what I would like as a buyer and know, okay, what type of discounts are available. Now, I'm doing dime boxes. I think in a lot of the stuff, somebody pulled a Tarek Skubal First Bowman Chrome out of my dime box. If I was going through a dollar box, I would have bought a Tarek Skubal First Bowman Chrome from a dollar box yesterday, and I've got one sitting in my dime box. That is a clear sign you've got too much stuff. Blow it out, and that's why I'm blowing out inventory. So people were buying, and people were looking at least at my table. Now, why is that? Well, one of the reasons is I'm right in front. Sometimes that's a bad thing. Sometimes people walk right by. And I think usually when you are at the front of the show, especially if it's separated from the main floor. So at this venue in Janesville at the Holiday Inn Banquet Center, you walk in and there's only one entrance for customers. You walk in the front doors and it's kind of like a lobby-ish type thing for the banquet center. It's just a giant hallway, basically. The first couple shows that I was set up in this area didn't do well because people were walking by. Why were people walking by? Because there was only like two of us dealers. Now, for the most part, you're either a bargain box buyer or you're not. And if you're not, you're just going to walk on by. But if there's other dealers, even some of those that I might not be a bargain box buyer, there's other dealers. And so now with the full show, sold out shows now, there's how many dealers? There's multiple. There's probably at least 20 tables in this front hallway now. Let's see. I have 3, 6, 8, 11, 12. Yeah, there's about 20 tables with how many dealers? And 20 tables, probably 8 to 12 dealers, because some have one table, some have 2 or 3. So figure 20 tables, 10 dealers on average. People are going to stick around. And, when they're sticking around, they're like, oh, and sometimes they're like, well, we're going to look at this guy if he has wax or if he has showcase stuff, and somebody else they're with is like, well, I don't want to look at that stuff. Oh, I'll just dig through this guy's dollar box, and you get some sales that way. So, people were looking, but I think that's part of the reason why people were looking in my boxes is my location, which I am pretty much anti-location at a card show, especially at a location like Janesville or Madison. Like, people are going to walk the entire room. If you have good stuff at good prices, they will find you. Now, the trick is with bargain boxes, you've got to kind of have people that come to you on a regular basis to really drive your sales. You've got to have your regulars, because they'll keep coming back and they'll spend money, and they'll find you. I know when I go to the National, I know exactly where the Singles Club is. I know exactly where Jennings is, and those are my first 2 stops, and I go straight there because I know I know that they're going to have stuff I'm going to buy, and I'm going to spend some time and spend some money at their booths. And the same goes for a local monthly card show. I know Bo's going to have dime boxes. I'm going to go buy a bunch of dime cards. I know Steve's got some good stuff. I know whoever else has good stuff. So they're going to come to you. But I was shocked that Steve didn't have people looking, because he usually has more regulars than I do typically. And I don't know. I don't think he was set up 2 months ago. So maybe the inconsistency of not setting up at the last show, maybe that hurt. I don't know. But I found a lot of great stuff. And he gives good deals. And that's something that I need to be a little more. He does a great job spelling out, okay, it's $2 per card, or if you buy 10, they're $1.50, or if you buy 50, it's $1 a card. And I need to do a better job of spelling that out, especially with my dollar cards, because I think I could move through more of those if I spelled out my volume discounts. Because mostly I don't do, it'd take probably at least 100 cards for me to do like 50 cents per card initially, because usually when I load up my dollar boxes, they're like, I don't want to give discounts because it's stuff that I could sell for $3, $4, $5. So it's like, but I also understand as a buyer, I want those bulk deals. So stuff that kind of goes through my head at shows. Let's go see some more chats, and we'll talk more about yesterday's show. 99-cent cards CA. What's going on? New listings Monday Fun Day. Got 300 cards ready to go live. Very nice. John says Bears played early yesterday as well. That's very true. But usually it tends to just be for both teams. And so I'm surprised. I'm surprised that it was a dominating win, because usually both teams are sluggish. And that goes with, and I know both teams play at the same time, but usually that leads to terrible play, just sluggish. It's kind of like when you played high school basketball and you played in a Thanksgiving tournament and you had the 9 a.m. game. Like, you played like shit. So did the other team. So it was just like, it was not like a true representation of each team's abilities. But the Bears apparently looked good. Again, I haven't watched it, but looking at the stats and just seeing some of the clips, Bears looked good. Michael says, what moved? Not much, but value box numbered cards, some basketball, Jaden Reed, Jordan Love. That's about it. So Michael didn't move much. It's that kind of same sentiment. I heard that a lot. Didn't really sell much. There was people there. It was less traffic, less money being spent. Also, it appeared to be the case yesterday. I did hear Jaden Reed from a couple people. And I actually bought a Jaden Reed because I heard a couple people mention Jaden Reed. And I'm like, I found one in the dollar box. It was like a prism color. I'm like, I'll buy this for $1. John says, Steve doing terrible might have something to do with selling $200 cards for 25 cents. Wouldn't that make him do better? Wouldn't that make him do better? Because I go back and look through his boxes, and I'm sure other people do as well. Steve actually does really good business selling bargain box cards. Merle says, good thing Steve didn't name today's episode The Death of Sports Card Sales at Card Shows. And that was like 3 years ago that happened. Good morning, Zach and Porter. What's going on? Merle says, I'm going to start a side PC project and could use some help. I want to put a binder together of every base Topps flagship Twins card made. I only have to go back to 1961. Very cool. Very cool. I can probably help you out with that. Check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I don't know what I have on collects. Probably not much flagship on. Actually, I probably have quite a few 70s cards on collects. I might have some Twins in there. Merle says, if you have extra Twins baseball cards, I'd be interested in buying or trading. There you go. Hit up Merle. John says, Singles Club is dead. It's not 2021 anymore, kid. So I wasn't there this year in Cleveland. Singles Club was down last year in 2023. I was disappointed. And I think they have pivoted to higher end stuff, showcases. There's still the singles club, but yeah, it's not the singles club of 2021 anymore. That is, or 2019 even. 2019 was awesome. 2021 was awesome. 2023 not so awesome. But I'll still give them my business. Merle, I think Steph of ComC fame did that project. That would be a fun PC project. John says, I'm saying Bears played early, which means people stayed home from the shows. The Bears played like shit early. And that's kind of a case. So the Bears played early and the Packers played at noon. So we're in Janesville, and Janesville is like right smack dab Bears Packers. Like it's Bears Packers divide. I think it probably skews a little more Packer fans in Janesville, but there's a lot of Bears fans. A lot of people come up from Rockford, which is Bears fan crazy. In the suburbs, obviously Bears fan crazy. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I think that may have had something to do with it. I haven't noticed Sunday shows. I haven't noticed any. 5 years ago, that was the case. Sunday shows sucked because people stayed home to watch football. That's not the case in this new hobby boom that we're still in. People are going out on Sundays and going to card shows and not staying home watching football. I'm sure some people stay home, but for the most part, there's still big crowds. The biggest reason that the crowd was slower yesterday at this particular show was it was just divided up. Pokemon, a lot of the Pokemon people are at Collecticon. A lot of the sports, some of the sports people are at Schaumburg at the big 3-day show. So that's the main driver. Little bit of trickle with Bears Packers being on, but not as much as the other card shows. Tracy says that's a fun project for Merle. I'm doing the same with the Royals and Chiefs. Very cool. Brian's in the house. Good morning. Happy Monday. Zach and Porter scored an Andre Reed card, a rookie card, yesterday. Since I was the opening bid, I'm sure Bo was not happy with where that landed. I thought that might sell for a little more. That's a card where I can get a few bucks on buy it now, but I'm expecting it to go for $1. And in reality, with the 99-cent shipping, and I know you bought a couple cards, so you just paid 99 cents. But if one person bought that one card, it's $2, which in my store that probably would have went for $2.50 or $3 on buy it now. So all in all, it's kind of a wash. That's one of those cards where I expected 99 cents to be the final bid. Johnny M's in the house. Good morning. Why would a buyer on Collects ask me if a card is available if it's listed for sale? I hate idiots. I don't know. I can't answer somebody else's question. I don't know. Havlicek, 70, 1977-78. Merle says, maybe need to go back to Bo's binder project shows. My friend Shane, who was here on Wednesday, looks around and he goes, I know you say that you love binders, but it doesn't look like you love binders. And I'm like, you know what? You have a really good point, because I haven't put anything in outside of my autographs in the padfolios. Yeah, I don't have I have a Dylan Cease binder that I've pulled cards out of. But yeah, I'm not really I'd like to be a binder guy. Hey, speaking of binders, though, I did in Johnny M's here. I cannot move. I need to ship all my shit to Johnny M because I cannot move these goddamn binders. So they didn't move on Facebook. So I ended the listing after 2 months of just I think the best offer I got was $30 for 5 binders. It's I'm not leaving the house for $30. So I'm sticking to $10 a binder. So I took 5 or 6 to the show. I'm glad I didn't take any more. And there was partial sets of 92 Upper Deck, 87 Tops, I think 88 Donruss. I don't know, just some random stuff. I didn't cherry pick anything with the exception of, Actually, the 92 Upper Deck might have had like Chipper Jones or whatever rookies are in that set. I don't know. I didn't. The binders I took to the show yesterday, I did not cherry pick what was already cherry picked, which, and here's an example. The 93 Topps binder still had the Jeter in it, which I did cherry pick that out. So there's still some stuff, and I didn't cherry pick anything out of it. The 87, the Bonds, Bo Jackson, that might have been taken out before me. I didn't even flip through it. It's like, I don't care. It's a $2 card. Somebody will get a deal, but I took six binders, priced them at $10 a piece, and I had people look through and like, oh, cool, what's in these, just to see what was in them. And then when they saw it's 87 Topps, 88 Donruss, 92 Upper Deck, they're like, I don't want this. So did not sell a single damn one. I think my next step is I've seen them sell for decent prices on eBay. Just the binders. What I might do is just get a big box, price out the shipping, and see if it's worthy of selling 5 binders at a buy it now price. So I've got to price that out. It's certainly not top of mind, but maybe eventually I'll look into that more. Stuke's in the house. Good morning. 4 NFC North teams in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. Cooter says, good morning. Coffee, beach sunrise, and hobby evolution. How about, hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Merle says, Vikings, #1 seed. Brian says, how big of a show is Janesville? Do they do a lot of promotions? Yes, they're great promoters. About 120 tables, 125 tables at the Janesville show. And they do a great job with promotion. They actually promote the shows better than I do. They're great. John says, maybe people are putting money into Bitcoin and $5 Mega Millions now. That could be. I don't know. Do we have skill games in Wisconsin? I don't know. Where's our resident skill games expert, low roller scratcher, to tell us if Wisconsin has skill games? They are a big deal. Andre Reed from Football Powerhouse is at Kutztown, or is it Kutztown? Kutztown. Merle says, I'm sure I will get around to doing the same binder project for the Vikings. Is it tougher for football? I don't think it's tougher. It might be more expensive. I don't know how far back would that go? Back into the 50s? I don't know. Probably going to be more expensive for the Vikings, but maybe not. I'm not an expert on Minnesota sports. May need to do a Steelers binder since I grew up a Steelers fan growing up in Iowa. John says, sorry for the Havlicek post. I'm listing on eBay and typed into the chat instead. Zach says, rookie 99-cent comp buster. I have a poor version from childhood upgrading my copy. Those Bills teams were unreal. Orlando is here. What's going on? Hello. Johnny M says, no thanks. I'm done with binders. I'm done with binders, and I haven't sold a damn one yet. John says, I made a binder versus non-binder decision today. Non-binder won the match. Interesting. I think ultimately non-binder is going to win out with me. I'm just never going to get around to doing it. Binder just takes up too much room when you reach a certain volume of collection. Yeah. And Michael, it's like initially when I started the 1 Million Cubs project, the idea was obviously collect 1 million cards, but then whittle it down to a collection. You know, I don't need 17 cards of this or 700 of that. Whittle it down to a collection and do team sets, do the Topps binder run, kind of like Merle's talking about. I wanted to do player run binders, Sandberg, Banks, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I just don't want to. And then I don't want to like make spaces because it's volume. Just like John mentions here, certain volume, there's so much. If I want to do all of this, like if I committed to a Topps run, that's easy. Topps run. But if I wanted to do Ryan Sandberg, where do I have TCDB up? What's a window I can use? This one. TCDB. When you load up Ryan Sandberg on TCDB, there are 20 or 12,260 unique cards. It's like, Jesus, how many binders is that? And you put holes for this one of one and of five autograph. It's like, but I don't want those. It's like, so where do you draw the line at what your Sandberg collection is? But if I find one cheap, I'm going to buy it. So that it's kind of like an outlier card. So I think, John, as I'm talking it out, non-binder is winning my match. Zach says, I'm a Bears fan. I'm happy with their record heading into the bye week. Oh, it's a bye week? Damn it. I have nothing going on next weekend. I wish this week would have been the bye week because I was at the card show. I don't have a card show next weekend. Zach says, I'm a Bears fan. I'm happy with their record heading into the bye week. I'm also aware this is way too early to get carried away. I agree, but I'm sticking in I'm not getting carried away. I'm getting excited, but I also understand they've played the Jaguars and the Panthers the last 2 weeks. However, Caleb Williams has looked good. He's making better decisions in those 2 games, which is what you want out of a rookie quarterback. I am tempering my expectations. I'm not beginning of the season. This is a 10-7 team. With this run, now they're 4-2. I'm not saying, well, they're going to win 12 games now. They're going to win 11 games. I'm still thinking 10-7 because really, at 4-2, these are 4 games. I think beginning of the season, these are 4 games you circled as wins. Kyle says, remember that one time when you had a whole stack of NASCAR binders and I sold those. And I sold those. I'm turning more non-binder on most, says Zach. I enjoy sorting and touching versus flipping pages. See, I enjoy flipping pages more than sorting and touching. But I just don't have a good process down for the binder putting together. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Cooter says, do you like looking at cards? Go with binders. If you like storing cards, go with boxes. I like looking at cards, but I don't like the process. It's the process that's, if it all just magically was done, if I had somebody come in like an organizer of bindering cards, and they came in and bindered all my Ryan Sandberg cards to where I want, like, I would love that. But I don't want to go through the process of all that work myself. If I could just pay somebody in cards to do it, but then it's like, I want it the way I want it. And if you fuck up, I'm going to be mad. So it's got to be done the right way. So ultimately, that's not going to happen. So John Myers says, Mitt Romney's a collector too. He has binders filled with women. Well, that's interesting. Brian says, that's a throwback. Kutztown, have 2 daughters going to school there now. Interesting. Zach says, Janesville, famous for Geraldo getting into a scrum with the association having 3 Ks in their name. That was in Janesville? I remember that. I didn't realize that was in Janesville. The Kutztown Bears. Zach says, binders harder to keep organized for people who like to organize. I like having cards in order. And I obviously don't. I mean, do I like it? Yes. Again, it's the process. I don't like the process of organizing cards. John says, oddly enough, you can keep cards in order in boxes as well. That is true. There's truth to that as well. When you commit to a binder, you either have blank spaces or you're moving cards around in pages constantly. That's my concern. Through my collecting life, I have done binders and I have done that constant moving around. And then it's like, well, I don't want these cards in a binder anymore. And the process of unbindering cards is hair pulling. Hate it. I'd rather do laundry than unbinder cards. Zach says, correct. What I'm saying is it is easier to keep them in order in a box. John says, I have often bindered a set, gotten 2/3 of the way through and realized I skipped a card. That That sucks. That sucks. And then there's math involved. How do you think I learned my multiplications by multiplications by 9? Thank you, baseball card binders. Brian says, Bears, 1 win away from my prediction. I also don't care if I'm wrong. I hope you're wrong. God, I hope you're wrong. John says, I have tens of thousands of bindered cards. It's just a huge commitment for me, and I hate commitments. Zach says, this Bears team is borderline wild card. My overall goal was division next year with a sneak in playoffs this year. I'm not wavering, all about experience. Stu says, Puckett in Hall of Fame collections in boxes, exhibit cards, and binders. Graded cards get drawers. John says, I need to move to a second Yaz binder now, and that's on top of the Yaz cards that live with the sets. If I just got rid of my Frank Thomas cards, then I'd have much more room. There you go. Putting cards in a binder is like losing weight. The original goal isn't as hard as the maintenance of the goal. There you go. Skokie, Illinois was a clan haven as well. Skokie. Frank does have a lot of cards. I thought Indiana was the clan's largest membership. Could be. I'm not up on the history. When building a set, it stays in the box until I get to around 100 cards left. Then I move to a binder. Bulk stays in boxes. Mark Hoyle's in the house. Good morning. Brian says, let's talk about Kmet. Dude's the best tight end in the North behind Laporta. Cole Kmet. I love Cole Kmet. He's finally breaking out. This is finally, I think this is what we all thought he was capable of doing. And it's just been, well, I think the offense kind of held him back the last couple of years. John Meyer says, thank you for your thoughts on the show. I avoid going because I may start another show habit I won't be able to break, a kind of Janesville addiction. There you go. There you go. So I did buy some cards. So I think I talked about what sold at yesterday's show. What was I buying? And I didn't really end up going in buying with what I intended to buy. I wanted to buy in bulk $5 to $10 cards that I could put in the auction, put in my auctions. There were three tables that I picked out as potentially doing some business. And here's kind of my strategy in this scenario when I'm looking at $5 to $10 cards. So I'd flip through, say a $5 box, and I'm going through and I'm running the numbers kind of in my head of expectations. There's usually a couple cards where it's like, this might be a really good price. I don't like to comp in front of a table. and especially one of the tables was across from me. So I just went back to my table and looked up the cards, and they were basically priced right at eBay sold comps. So I'd have to get a really sweetheart deal in bulk to make a move. So I kind of moved on from that. Another table had some stuff that was at good prices, and I probably could have got even better, but it wasn't liquid. Stuff that would eventually sell for profit. But it's like, I've got enough stuff that's sitting. I don't need more stale inventory. So I moved on from that. The third table, which I did end up buying some stuff from, I think early on in the show, I think some of the stuff was picked out because when I went back later in the day to, potentially ask for a price on the whole box, a lot of the stuff that I was eyeing in the morning was gone because it likely was at good prices. So, but I did end up buying some stuff. It's probably stuff that I'll make minimal margin on. But I did get, I think I paid $4 a card on these. But I think my best deal of the day was with Steve in his bargain boxes. I got everything for just a little over $1 a piece. And I've got to check this one, Thurman Munson 74 Tops. I might need that for my set. So I've got to look at my 74 binder These cards he had in the $3 box, but I ended up getting them for a little over $1. Mojo Refractor, Judge Insert, which is something else that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if Michael Renicke's still here, but we had a good conversation. If anybody's watching that's been interested in my Brady, I bought a ton of Tom Brady yesterday. I haven't gone through to count, but we're talking 2002, 2003, 2004. I got some vintage, just $1 a piece. Here's a Wave Refractor of Adley Rushman. I got some Otanis, Trading Day. I didn't know if this was one of the MVP buybacks or not. It is. Aaron Judge 2024 Topps Chrome. How about this Bernard Berrien jersey auto? It's numbered to 344. Chicago Bear Bernard Berrien. I got some Bobby Witt Jr.'s, more Brady's. I stocked up on Joe Flacco because he's now the starter in Indy. It's an orange refractor, Bowman rookie, Hopalong Cassidy. It's in poor condition. Pat Summerall, TCMA, Roosevelt Brown. I picked this up. This might, I might end up losing a few cents on that one, but I thought it's cool. I was looking for Baker Mayfield color. He had another awesome day. So I think I ended up buying 170 cards. I haven't looked. This is a card that I have to look up. T.Y. Hilton Gold, Topps Gold rookie card. Matt Ryan rookie. There's some Mahomes, McNabb Bowman Chrome rookie. Manziel sells well, and this is a refractor rookie. Got Dylan Cease for my Dylan Cease collection. This is an autograph of a Rockford Peach. This one recently sold for $15, so I'm going to put that as a buy it now because I think that's a card. This is a card that I'm not going to risk auctioning because it might go to 99 cents. So that's just a small portion of what I got. Let's see. I bought some NBA autographs. I got some good deals with the one touch. So I'm going to keep the one touch for my own collection and maybe auction off since NBA season starts soon. Jeff Malone, Herb Williams. I got a Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner, for some reason, sells really well. There must be some Seahawks fans that love that guy. Kurt Warner. I sell his rookies fast and furious. There's a couple more in here. I think I bought 5 total. I got a Tree Rollins auto, Atlanta Hawks, and a Danny Manning. Nice auto, Danny Manning. So pick those up on the cheap. And then 5-star didn't have the greatest dollar boxes, but I was able to find some decent stuff. This is all low margin stuff. Although some Pete Alonso rookies, but low margin stuff. In early Peyton Manning, it's collector's edge, which is kind of crappy, but Donovan McNabb rookie card, John's favorite. Jason Dominguez chrome from Pro Debut. De Los Santos first chrome. Lamar Jackson silver prism. Kyle Tucker purple numbered to 250. Jackson Jobe sky blue to 499. I got these for about $1 a piece. Alex Bregman rookie card. Always like picking up rookie autos for $1. I pulled 3 Pete Alonso. This was probably the best pull. These will sell for about $7, I think. I got to get these up now while the Mets are still in the playoffs. Gary Carter 77. Brooks Robinson 77 tops. George Brett, Hall of Famers for $1 from the 70s all day. For my PC, I like this kid. Early Jeter, minor league card. We got a Mark Vientos. He's been selling really well. Mojo rookie. Extraterrestrial, J-Rod. 74. This is one that I got to see if I have in my 74 set build. Let's see. Got a Babe Ruth. I think that's the sepia version. Brandon Marsh mini chrome rookie card. Aaron Judge mojo. Julio Rodriguez mojo. I was looking for football, didn't find much. Gervon Dexter, number to 199. Tanner Scoble, first chrome sapphire. Another Bear, James Allen, patch to 250. And Reggie White, don't know anything about that card, but I'm like, I've never seen it. So usually when I come across cards I've never seen, I'll take the chance. And then my first purchase of the day was my buddy John Gruber. My buddy John Gruber says, hey, I've got a stack of Cubs. See what you want in there. So I'm going through, and first card I see is Justin Steele Elite Extra Edition, numbered to 799 auto. I'm like, oh, I really like that. And then there was some Christian Hernandez, which I'm still high on this kid. Hobby's fickle, man, but I still like his. I still think there's going to be a rebound on him. Mojo auto, and I think there was another Christian. Oh yeah, Bowman's best. I got to go through because I think I have the Bowman's best. I don't think I had the other two. And then there was some other Adon Sanchez. I've got a bunch of these. Might as well have one more. Jordan Nwagu, first chrome auto. Nelson Velasquez, rookie auto. Miguel Amaya, Bowman Platinum auto. Some of these I think I already had. I know I have Christopher Passiola, first chrome auto. Nazir Moulet from Onyx. Hayden Wisniewski, Platinum auto. I do have that, I know. Caleb Killian, and I'm pretty sure I have that one. Miguel Amaya. I think I just picked one of these up at might have been the last Madison Card Show. Alfonso Rosario. I like this kid too. This is numbered out of 10. Let's see. Jordan Wicks, Leaf Metal auto. We got Caleb Killian, rookie auto. Kevin Alcantara, Prism auto. Andrew Kashner, chrome auto, rookie. Caleb Killian, perfect game. Keegan Thompson, Bowman Platinum auto. Brennan Davis, Platinum auto. And Rick Russell in person, or TTM, rookie auto. So he gave me a great price on those. I'm like, what do you want for all of them? He's like, oh, I like to hear that. And he was another one where, and this was probably 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And he goes, you're my first sale of the day. And I'm like, that's not good for this time of day. So that was my PC purchase of the day. Let's go through some more chats. Where we at? Let's see. Cooter says 9 is the coolest number in math. It has several useful tricks you learn as an accountant, making paging 9 pockets easy. And it was Ted Williams' number, so that explains why God loves number 9. It was also WGN, home of the Chicago Cubs, channel on TV. Channel 9. Mark says, well said, Cooter. Zach says, my number was 9 when I played because of Williams and Hobbs. Mark says, I made my best money yesterday selling 90s hockey commons and 90s wrestling cards. Had a couple of baseball set builders as well that dug through boxes. Very cool. John says, need to mention publicly that today is the official start of Dallas Cowboys saying next year is our season. Zach says, nice job, Mark. Gedman. Johnny M says, with the amount of inventory you have in stock, why keep buying? Because I keep selling. So a lot of this stuff is for auction. So it's always good to have fresh inventory. Brady, I'm pretty much out of Tom Brady. So I wanted to buy Tom Brady because I know what I'm getting for most of these Brady cards. And so if I can source them for $1, and some of those go for $7-8, I can make some good money on it. So, and obviously the PC stuff is because I PC and I can get a better price buying it all instead of just cherry picking. So I'm always buying. If the right deal comes along, I mean, I'd spend thousands of dollars at a card show while having millions of cards in inventory if the deal is right. The cards that I bought, the deal is right. Now, am I going to hit a home run on every one of these buys? Absolutely not. But that's sometimes to get those prices down. You have to, to get a $10 card for $1, you might have to, get a couple dollar cards for $1. So that's just how I roll. And I'm always going to keep buying. You always have to keep up. And while I have a lot of inventory, I may not have $10 card inventory. I don't have an excessive amount of $10 and up inventory. So, but I didn't really buy much $10 and up inventory either, but the opportunities weren't there. But some of the dollar cards that I picked up, I can move for $10 plus. John says, for pre-1957 tops, the number is 8. Remember when Baker Mayfield was known only for his commercials? Burn your McNabb cards. Mark says, Gedman Auto was the only new thing I left with except for supplies. John says, they aren't going to be worth anything 30 to 40 years from now, so don't commit. Easy Limbaugh. Gedman signing at Shriners? No, maybe not. Kurt Warner and Otis Anderson, same era, same goodness. I know someone who wants that Malone I may procure. Very nice. Mark doesn't think so. Warner was a Nittany Lion. Excuse me, Collector's Edge is crappy. Why don't you take a big step back and punch your own face? Collector's Edge was terrible. It was terrible then, and it's terrible now. And I cringe when I see it. Cooter says, nothing hurts more than when you come across a pre-57 card obviously trimmed to fit a 9-pocket page. Ah, yes. Bo's going to be on his knees in an alley soon to feed his 70s habit. John says, I'm assuming Gruber drives a conversion. I don't know what John drives. One call, that's all. Anyone, only my Wisconsin folks will understand that reference that Unicorn Cupcake brings up. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Zach says, Unicorn is a cheesehead for sure. Brian Bourne's in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Zach says, Collector's Edge, greater than all these Cubs prospect cards. False. Brian says, all these autos, I need more Nolan autos. The funny thing is I probably bought that whole stack of autos for less than what one Nolan Ryan autograph costs. Brian says, the pride of Camp Point, Illinois, home of the Russell brothers, Rick and Paul. Rick Russell. John says, Ford doesn't stop making cars because they have cars on their lot. Hey, that's a good point. That's a great point. John coming up with all these quotes, selling steak at yogurt prices. Ford doesn't stop making cars because they have cars on their lot. I like that. That's a good one. Zach says, Bo stocks up on cards of people he secretly hopes will die soon. Guy makes a killing on celeb deaths. Who's next? Bo also the one still buying Purell in bulk. Hey. Bo's more of a Kia than a Ford. But I drive a Ford. Zach says, Bo needs to buy these hot cards so he can plant them in future Goodwill Gaylords. There you go. And hey, speaking of Gaylords, the Goodwill pallets, the Mike Trout is now no longer in my hands. No, I didn't sell it, but it's on its way. My group subber looked over. He thinks it's going to get a PSA 8. Thinks it's going to get an 8. He thinks it could get a 9 with SGC. So I'm going to take a couple days to think about it. I am heavily leaning towards PSA. I think I slept on it. I asked a couple of my chat groups thoughts, and pretty much a consensus of PSA is the way to go. The reasons why is SGC seems to grade those types of cards lighter than PSA, so you'd get a higher number grade. The fees are certainly a lot less with SGC than they are PSA, but at the end of the day, you may save the difference may be just in the grading fees, but it may also be, well, it's an SGC that could drag the price down. So I'm still like in limbo, but I'm heavily leaning towards just taking the risk and getting an 8 at PSA. So I actually brought up I was on the PSA website this morning looking at the pop reports. I think there's 26 graded copies by PSA of the Mike Trout first chrome blue refractor, 2 10s, I think 15 9s. How many 8s were there? There were a few 8s, like 1 7, 0 6s, and 1 5. And then when I looked at the PSA 9 sales on this is through the PSA website, June of this year, a 9 sold for $19,560. June of 2021, a 9 sold for $35,700. In February of 2021, a 9 sold for $78,177. September of 2019, 20,000. August of 19, 21,000. June of 2019, 20,000. That's all pre-COVID boom. So that's kind of looks like where the market settled on PSA 9s of this card, 20,000. Mine probably won't get an 8. There's no prices on 8s. So we shall see. And I'm curious what there was a raw that sold earlier this year for $5,000, I think. But I don't know. I didn't look closely enough at it. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where the market goes here over the next few months once he gets healthy and all that. John says it's not 2021. It certainly isn't. Mike Trout ain't Mike Trout anymore. But Mike Trout's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Mike Trout's a Hall of Famer. It doesn't matter. He's not a prospect. So it's going to go off to PSA, most likely. We'll get the grade. Hopefully it's an 8. I mean, love a 9, but if my group's ever, he submits thousands and thousands of cards, and he knows if he thinks it's an 8, it's probably going to get an 8. And we'll go from there. And then once we get to spring, we'll see where prices are going. Right now is not a good time to sell because Mike Trout was hurt at the end of the season. We're also going into the off season. Not good times to sell a card like this. So we're going to wait until spring, see what happens around spring training, and kind of take it from there. So we will see. I'm glad it's not in my possession anymore because I don't like having that type of, collectively I have a lot of value in my cards, but that's collectively. It's not in one card. I don't have to worry about one card. Okay, my showcase, I got some nice cards in my showcase, but nothing near. The most recent sale was $20,000, which was 2 months ago. $20,000 2 months ago. So August, was it August? What did I say? Or June 28th, 2023. Just under $20,000 was the last sale of a PSA 9. No sales on PSA 8s on the PSA website. So there you go. And all the pre-COVID sales were right around 20,000 back in 2019. So, but yeah, his market has taken a hit, but obviously, you take a look though, and we can just do let's just use 20,000 as the baseline. You take into account inflation, and that most recent sale is less than what it was. So 20,000. Let's see, in August of 2019. And today. So, taking into account inflation, Those $20,000 sales back in 2019 would be $25,000 today, and the last sale was $20,000. So we'll see. It's got that. It's probably not going to get a 9. I just don't have any gauge on 8s. There's no sales recently on 8s. I don't have any of those comp subscriptions because I don't play in the sandbox. I don't know. So 10K would be great. 10K would be great. And that's kind of what I thought about, when I initially started looking at the prices. Let's see. John says, I think you should continue to think you should wait until he retires or gets elected. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have, I want to liquidate. I'm obviously not in a near-term rush. It's not like I need to flip it next month. But I don't want to wait another 5 to 10 years. I just want to move it now because I can do a lot of, that cash gives me a lot of flexibility to make purchases on inventory and, gives me flexibility, cash flexibility. Zach says that would be crazy. That is a lot of e-bikes. Unicorn Cupcake says, isn't PSA always the answer unless it is pre-war, in my opinion? For the most part, yeah. For the most part, yeah. I mean, the only exception now, I have like limited grading. How many cards have I submitted for grading? 30. Let's say 30 cards for grading. And how many of those were actually to flip? 7, I think. I've done 7. So I certainly don't know really anything about grading. But what I have learned, listen to my buddy Matt at 5 Star Cards, because he told me I pulled that Justin Verlander blue chrome refractor out of a box loose and was in great shape. I'm like, I'm just going to sub this to C. And I was going to sub it to PSA. And he goes, I think with this, you want to send it to SGC. And I'm like, okay. I sent it to SGC and it got a fucking 10. A motherfucking 10. And I think it sold for, I ended up taking an offer of like 125, I think, on that card. So, which I was extremely happy with. If it went to PSA, it probably would have got an 8. Maybe a 9. But probably, he said probably an 8 at PSA. And he goes, you'll probably get a 9 from SGC, and it got a 10. And the difference in price, I don't know what the prices are now. It's been a couple months, but that was the only exception. All my pre-war stuff goes to SGC. My 70 stuff went to PSA. The Peyton ended up going to SGC because PSA doesn't slab them in size. John says, I also think the greatness of Trout will be tempered with the rise of Ohtani and Judge. And I think Mike Trout is going to have the Mickey Mantle treatment. That may be a hot take. That may not be a hot take. But I think Mike Trout is this generation's Mickey Mantle. And I don't think the previous generation had a Mickey Mantle. Whereas Ohtani and Judge Ohtani for sure will probably end up being a better player than Trout. Judge remains to be seen. But in the hobby, Mickey Mantle wasn't the best player. Was he even the best player of his generation? I say no. Willie Mays was a better player than Mickey Mantle. But it's all about the mystique, which I don't know why Mickey Mantle has more of a mystique than Willie Mays. But Mike Trout has limited rookie cards. You've got the Topps update from 2011. That's it. You've got the first Bowman Chrome. That's it. You've got Ohtani and Judge with like fucking 7,000 different rookie cards. And whether one person wants to believe they're true rookie cards or not, for the most part, there's just so many to choose from that there's no poor man's 52 Mantle or 51 Mantle. You got the 51 Bowman and you got the 52 Topps. The difference Orlando brings up, Mantle has rings. Mantle does have rings. Trout doesn't. But I think Mike Trout in 30 years, the 2011 Topps update will be right up on that list with the 52 Topps Mantle as this century's 52 Mantle. The 20th century had the 52 Topps Mantle. I think the iconic card of the 21st century will be the 2011 Topps update. Because what's the most iconic Ohtani rookie? And Mantle wasn't even a rookie. What's the most iconic Ohtani card? What's the most iconic Judge card? Can you name one? You say Mickey Mantle, you go 52 Topps. You say Mike Trout, 2011 Topps update. So I think Trout will go down as this generation's Mickey Mantle in the hobby. Where are we at? Zach says, plus with athletes, there is always the risk they will go Ray Rice or something like that. Take the money. For example, Wander Franco. There you go. John says, sounds like the guy you trust grading doesn't really get the grading numbers right. He does a really damn good job. I mean, if anything, he underestimates. Trout was generational. Seems the next generation is better. Shane says, if an SGC 9 sells for the same as a PSA 8, why bother with the little brother of PSA? And that's kind of the thought process. If they sell for the same, you're saving $800 in fees. So I'll net $800 more with an SGC 9 if they sell for the same. But I haven't done a deeper dive. Are there PSA 8 sales? At least not recently. Let me go back to the pop report. Blue refractor. So there's only 5 8s. So there's 2 10s, 15 9s, 5 8s, 3 7s, 0 6s, and 1 5 on the Trout First Bowman Chrome Blue Refractor Auto. John says, good point about the Mantle comparison. I think that's accurate. Zach says, Bo is talking about who he prefers for grading and will soon push his auctions. What year is this? Where am I? It's the evolution. It is the evolution. Business evolution, industry evolution. It's the evolution. It's an evolution, baby. Brian says, Ohtani is the greatest player ever. Fight me. Now, I will fight you on this. Right now, I would say no. But I think if he continues this, the answer is yes. Because I grew up, like many of you did, we're all pretty much similar age. We grew up in the era where Don Mattingly was going to be a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. Bobby Bonilla, a surefire Hall of Famer. Eric Davis was on his way to a Hall of Fame career, and none of them are in the Hall of Fame. I understand different reasons why Eric Davis just didn't. He had a couple great years. He had a long career, but just fizzled out. Bobby Bonilla, kind of similar. Mattingly battled injury. Is Ohtani the best player in baseball right now? Yes. Is he the greatest player ever? I'm going to pump the brakes on that. Not quite. Not so fast, my friends, as the famous Lee Corso would say. I mean, he only has how many years under his belt? He doesn't even have 10 years. He's at 7 years. This is his 7th Major League Baseball season. So we've got to pump the brakes on that. Is he the greatest player right now? Absolutely. Is he the greatest player ever? Not so fast. Mantle has the rings. That's the big difference between Trout and Mantle. Zach's breaking glass. Cue the Stone Cold music. Mantle also played in NYC. Trout played in the suburbs. The Ohtani Judge comparison was to baseball greatness, not hobby greatness. Okay. Mr. Archer, good morning. John says, Walter Johnson won 20 games and batted 400. Ohtani will never do that. What Ohtani win as a pitcher? Did he get to 20 wins as a pitcher? No, 15-9 was his best season. I don't think Ohtani wins 15 games as a pitcher again. He did it once. I don't think he does it again. I think Ohtani is going to go most, if not the rest of his career, as a hitter only. Hitter only for Ohtani. I know he's going to try to come back and pitch, but I don't know how that'll work. Brian says, no, you've seen someone who can pitch and hit and field like him. No way has anyone been this great. Well, he can't field, right? Has he played in the field at all? I don't think Ohtani has played in the field at all. He's just been a DH, hasn't he? Yeah, I think so. Oh, wait, he's played a few games in the outfield. 7. He's played 7 games in the outfield. Let's see. Mr. Archer says we can at minimum say he's the best player of this generation. Shane says, in the words of Billy Bean, played by Brad Pitt, adapt or die. That's right. It's an evolution, baby. Brian says, sorry, I should have said now, present at any moment. Merle says, can't wait until Bo evolves into telling us which cards he picked up at the card show that he's going to sell on Whatnot. Don't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I'm the one in my own head. Don't be surprised if I'm selling on Whatnot in 2025. Do not be surprised by that. I've had a couple different conversations that have sort of enlightened me towards Whatnot. And I've always said, maybe not always, but in the last year, I think platforms like Whatnot are the future of card sales. eBay, whether it's eBay Live, Fanatics Live, Whatnot, I think that's the future. And I sort of do that. I've done it with YouTube, just selling bulk on YouTube. I kind of do it with eBay, but I'm not on eBay Live. I'm just doing it on Whatnot on YouTube. I had a conversation with another dealer yesterday that just started on Whatnot and said that did like $1,000 in sales in like a weekend. Shit, I just got a text. So I've got to wrap this up. So I got to go. But maybe we'll save this topic for tomorrow, Whatnot. And I also had a conversation yesterday. That I want to share as well. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store at 99centcards.com. Don't forget, tomorrow night we'll go live at 7 p.m. Central. We'll do eBay auctions live tomorrow night. Hobby Evolution back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.